Canelo Alvarez has vacated his WBA regular super middleweight championship belt. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Bram Star Says So. So let's get right into this one, guys. Canelo Alvarez vacates the WBA super middleweight regular championship belt after no title defenses. Canelo Alvarez went up to super middleweight a year ago to fight Rocky Fielding in one of the most one-sided, lopsided fights I've ever seen. Canelo Alvarez beat Rocky Fielding with a left hook jab to the side, and Rocky Fielding sort of folded down in pain and just couldn't beat a count. Rocky Fielding, to me, is probably one of the worst boxers in the history of professional boxing, and to me, I don't count Canelo Alvarez as being a world champion at 168 because, in my opinion, the WBA regular title has never really been a world championship belt. Once they made the super championship, the WBA regular belt had no real meaning and no real weight to it. How Canelo Alvarez wanted to fight Rocky Fielding is beyond me. What he should have done is he should have fought one of the killers, one of the superstars up at 168. But no, he took the easiest fight of his life to call himself a freeweight world champion at the time. In my opinion, Canelo Alvarez is and will only be a three-weight champion now because he hasn't knocked off anybody at 168. But after looking at Canelo's recent performances, there's not a single man at 168 that he couldn't beat if he went back down there. But yes, he has vacated that championship belt to Rocky Fielding, who has gone on to have one fight since losing to Canelo, and he beat Abdullah Pazi in November, last week or 2 weeks ago. Rocky Fielding, to me, is a big pile of shit. He was never going to be anything in boxing. I remember back in 2015 when he got knocked out in the first round by Callum Smith for the WBC silver and the British super middleweight titles. He then went on to have a little run where he knocked off John Ryder, David Brophy, as well as Tyrone Zug to pick up the WBA regular championship. He actually beat Zug by a knockout, but maybe that really shows the level of super middleweights up in that division at the time. If Rocky Fielding was picking up what I deem to be a minor title. What can I say going forwards for Canelo? I think Canelo Alvarez, especially off the back of Rocky Fielding's last fight, should definitely look to fight Rocky Fielding. Eddie Hearn has already said that Canelo Alvarez is the boss, so all of that talk and hype about getting Canelo Alvarez to go over to Liverpool to fight Callum Smith in Anfield, it's not going to happen. Eddie Hearn knows it's not likely. The likelihood is if Canelo does choose Callum Smith as his next victim, Callum would have to go over and fight Canelo Alvarez in Vegas or wherever else Canelo and Oscar De La Hoya choose to host this fight. They will be the clear B-side. But the fact is, fighting Canelo Alvarez, you could imagine that Callum Smith may be getting a career high payday just to sell his belt, just like all other matchroom fighters seem to do. Danny Jacobs, Rocky Fielding, Callum Smith will go on to do that. Probably Demetrius Andrade at some point down the line. The fact is with Canelo Alvarez is that he has all of the judges and all of the referees in his pocket, and the fact is, in my opinion, when you fight Canelo Alvarez, you start the fight probably 4 or 5 rounds down on the cards, in my opinion. As I said, when Danny Jacobs took the slip or got the knockdown against Canelo, that one knockdown probably cost him about 5 or 6 rounds on the judges' scorecards. In my opinion, the only person that can get a decision against Canelo is Floyd Mayweather, and anybody else, you might as well forget about it. Canelo Alvarez, he just seems to be the golden poster boy. He's even more loved and even more adored than apple juice. But the only difference between Canelo and AJ is that Canelo's actually a good boxer. AJ's just a hype man. Different video for a different day. But yes, as I said, Canelo has vacated that title. I do hope that he does go on to face somebody at super middleweight, whether that be Billy Joe Saunders, Billy Joe Saunders, Callum Smith, Caleb Plant, or the other guy that's on the PBC. Shit, sorry, his name has sort of gone from me. But yeah, I do think that Canelo Alvarez clearly is the undisputed #1 fighter in the world at the moment. Would I give him #1 pound for pound? I keep saying I'm going to make a pound for pound video list and I keep not doing it. I think the fact is, pound for pound is, it just comes down to the discretion of the person. Do you know what I mean? That's the reason why everybody's going to argue. But yeah, Canelo Alvarez, I think after he went up to 175 and put on 15 pounds of muscle and knocked out Kovalev, I think it just shows just how good of a fighter this guy is. And yes, we all know that he loves to take a few steroids and blame it on meat, but you know, this guy is something amazing. We have to enjoy him while we can. I think we spent a lot of time, you know, talking down on the likes of Andre Ward and Floyd Mayweather, so let's just enjoy Canelo while we can. Canelo's still very young. I think he's only about 28 years old. He could still be in boxing for another 10 years, so you know, what he's doing is truly remarkable. Could he go up another 15 pounds and go up to cruiserweight? I wouldn't put it past him, put it that way. I've seen stranger things happen. Do you know what I mean? Canelo is really trying to just, you know, mark his territory as being one of the greatest of all time. You know, if he does pick up a true 168 title and then dares to be great and goes back down to and goes up to cruiserweight, then well, we are talking about something amazing here. Because let's be honest, when you hear about multiple weight champions in the lower weight classes, some of those weight classes are like 5 pounds apart and all of that sort of thing. We just seen a man go up from 160 to 175. I understand he did have a belt at 168, but he never defended it, and that's probably the reason why he's just sort of vacated that title now. The WBA were probably putting pressure on him to make a title defense, but realistically, there's going to be no money defending a WBA regular title, and also if there's a mandatory, he's probably not going to want to face him either. I think Canelo Alvarez has got to a point in life now where he probably is a little bit more important than some of these belts out here, and that's the reason why Mauricio Suleiman made him the franchise champion, so that he can't pressurize Canelo into doing sort of mandatories, and he can just go up and down in the weight classes and fight whoever the hell he wants to. Obviously, Canelo Alvarez generates the most money in sanctioning fees because he is the biggest star in boxing, regardless of what Eddie Hearn might try and lie and tell you. And Canelo Alvarez at this point in his life can do whatever he wants to. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. Do you think he was right to vacate that belt? Do you think he should go and sort of unify with the WBA super champion? Or do you think it's more likely that he'll fight Billy Joe Saunders or Callum Smith? Leave me a comment, hit like, hit subscribe, share this video, and also press the bell icon. Thanks again, guys, for watching this show and showing your support as always. That's the end of the show because Remstar says so.